ever get tired?
I do get tired, but I just fight through it, man. And my teammates always there to encourage me and pick me up. Kevin.
Gravis Vasquez and Ty Lawson, the first of whom Kevin remains close friends with to this day. During this time, he began wearing the number 35 as his jersey number in honor of his AAU coach, Charles Craig, who was murdered at the age of, yeah. After playing 2 years in high school basketball at National Christian Academy and 1 year at Oak Hill Academy, Kevin Durant transferred to Montrose Christian School for senior year, growing 5 inches that year before the start of the season, and he was the tallest player in the team, 6'7". Prior to the start of the season, he committed to the University of Texas in Austin. He visited the University of Connecticut, University of North Carolina, and said that he considered Duke University, University of Kentucky, and other universities. When Kevin was asked why he chose this college, a lesser known program, he said he wanted to set his own path. At the end of the year, he was named Washington Post All-Met Basketball Player of the Year, as well as Most Valuable Player of the 2006 McDonald's All-American Game. He was widely regarded as the second best high school prospect of 2006 behind Greg Oden. He stated that he would have declared 2006 NBA draft if the NBA had not introduced one down rule, which is a rule that prevents. From 2006, Kevin Durant had grown to 6'9". He averaged 25.8 points, 11.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists per game for the Texas Longhorns. He finished the season with 25-10 record overall and a 12-4 record in the conference. I won't go over too many college achievements because his college career was beautiful, but his main highlights are actually in the NBA itself. He was recognized as unanimous National Player of the Year, winning the John R. Wooden Award and all 8 other widely recognized awards. He made the freshman team and he allowed them to win the National Player of the Year awards. Following the season, he declared for the NBA draft, which was a shocker at the time. Kevin Durant, number 35 jersey, was later retired by the Longhorns. Kevin Durant in the NBA. The year 2007, his rookie year. Kevin Durant was selected as the second overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft by the Seattle Supersonics. Selected by the Portland Trailblazers with the first pick of the draft. In his first regular season game, the 19-year-old Durant registered 18.5 rebounds and 3 steals against the Denver Nuggets. On November 16th, he made the first game-winning shot of his career in the game against the Atlanta Hawks. At the end of the 2007-2008 NBA season, he was named the NBA Rookie of the Year, pulling 20.3 points, 4.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists per game. He joined Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James, this come on later, as the only teenagers in league history to average at least 20 points per game over an entire season, which was insane for the youngster at the time. 2010. Prior to the start of the 2010 season, Kevin Durant announced on Twitter he had signed a 5-year contract extension with the Thunder, worth approximately $86 million. For the second consecutive year, Kevin Durant led the NBA in scoring, averaging 27.7 points per game. Behind his leadership, they won 55 games and earned the 4th seed in the Western Conference. In the 2011 NBA playoffs, Oklahoma City defeated the Denver Nuggets and Memphis Grizzlies en route to the conference final matchup against Dallas Mavericks, losing in 5 games. That's depressing. On February 19th of the lockout shortened 2011 season, he recorded his first 50-point game, scoring 51 points against the Denver Nuggets. At the All-Star game, he scored 36 points and was awarded the NBA All-Star Game Most MVP award. Kevin finished the year with a scoring average of 28 points per game, representing his third straight scoring title. Behind this play, the Thunder won 47 games and entered the 2012 NBA playoffs as the Western Conference second seed. In Game 1 of the first round against the Dallas Mavericks, he hit a game winner with 1.5 seconds remaining, which is insane, and that was an epic moment in the NBA. Oklahoma City would go to defeat Dallas 4-0 and Lakers 4-1 and the San Antonio Spurs 4-2 before losing to Miami Heat 1-4 in 2012 NBA Finals. For the NBA Finals, Kevin Durant, insanity to think you can beat Michael Jordan's record is Michael Jordan. It's the greatest to a lot of people. He struggled against the physical play of the Grizzlies, converting on only 24% of the field goals in Game 4. Through responded by scoring 36 points in Game 6. Oklahoma City eventually eliminated Memphis and the Los Angeles Clippers before losing to San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Final 6 games. And that year, Kevin Durant won the MVP award for the NBA. It was an insane year. He was on an insane run that year, and it's a year he would never forget. But then he got sold to the Golden State Warriors. 2016. When he signed with the Golden State Warriors, he took an easy route by forming a super team that is the coach of the Golden Warriors. Now, what had happened was, on July 7th, he signed on a 2-year deal, $54 million, with a player option after the first year. Reflecting on the move for Sports Illustrated, Ben Golliver wrote, "He chose an ideal roster fit and a shot at playing on the highest scoring offense the NBA has ever seen in decades. He chose life along Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, which were a dynamic duo, the greatest shooting backcourt in history, and he chose to go against Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green, two elite defenders, in practice rather than Western Conference final game." His debut for the Golden State Warriors. He made his debut against San Antonio Spurs, scoring 27 points in a blowout loss. On November 26, he recorded 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. For the next few ones, I won't be covering too many of his stats because it gets repetitive. In 2019, he announced that he planned to sign with the Brooklyn Nets after July moratorium ended on July 6th. July 1st, Golden State CEO Jacob Nets. And after July moratorium ended July 6th, July 1st, Golden State CEO Joe Lacob announced that Kevin Durant's number 35 will no longer be issued by the Warriors. They are returning the jersey they were going to make hell in the NBA. He scored a season high 42 points. That's Kevin Durant in a 122-115 win over Orlando Magic. On February 5th, due to health complications, Kevin Durant came off the bench for the first time in his career in a 117-123 loss to Toronto Raptors, the team inspired to join back in the day. In February, he suffered a hamstring injury, which forced him to miss 23 games, which was a lot in the season. On April 2nd, the NBA fined him for private messages sent to the actor Michael Rappaport in the feud. They had a beef, and he sent him a bit of threats because they were beefing, and you're not meant to do that as a superstar. So they found out and they fined him as a punishment. Kevin Durant made his return to the NBA on April 7, 2021, scoring 17 points off the bench in a 139-192 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. The Nets finished the season with the 48-24 record and the second seed in the East. In Game 4 of the first round of the playoffs, he scored 42 points in a 141-126 win over the Boston Celtics to take a 3-1 lead in the series. In Game 5, he scored 24 points. They won the match and to close out the series.
You talk about your scoring average, but you're up and down that court all the time. The other game when you had 51 in the overtime. How do you have the stamina? Do you ever get tired?
I do get tired, but I just fight through it, man. And my teammates are always there to encourage me and pick me up. And I just enjoy playing the game of basketball. So I'm out there having fun. So I don't really rarely I see myself get tired.
When Joe Johnson pulled out the three-point contest on Saturday, everybody's saying, who's going to replace him? Who's going to replace him? All of a sudden they say Kevin Durant. Maybe you should have been there to begin with, but you got the busy day on Sunday. You're here today. Why do you want to be in it?
I didn't shoot so well last year, so I'm trying to redeem myself. There's a lot of guys that's worthy of being in a three-point contest, so I'm very honored that they chose me to be in it, and I just try to do my best to represent, man. Hopefully I make some shots.
You guys are an unbelievable run this year. You had a great run last year. Everybody said you weren't old enough. You hadn't been there before. Is it different this year? Did you learn something last year?
We did learn something. We knew that we can compete with any team, and we knew that we had a chance to go to the finals. So that taste in our mouth is still there from playing Dallas, and hopefully it gives us some fight and some fire that we can compete. So I'm looking forward to the second half of the season, and hopefully we make it to the postseason, and hopefully we go far.
With this condensed schedule with so many games in so few days, is that something that helps a young team like you guys, you think?
It does. I think it's cool for us to know that we're going to have games no matter what, back to back and every other day. And if we play bad, we can just forget about that one and worry about the next game. And also less practice time as well. So we all look forward to just playing the game that we love. And it's just a blessing that we get to play after the lockout.
A credit to your organization, the best record in the West. Scotty Brooks, your coach for the Thunder, is the coach for the All-Star team. What have you told him, or what has he told you about your role Sunday?
Just be myself. He's going to draw a few plays up for me. Hopefully I make some shots.
Will you have enough playing time to win MVP?
We'll see about that. That's all I'm gonna say.
And he went on to win all the remaining games. His 48 points were in game 7. He got 48 points in a single game. An NBA playoff was the highest in NBA playoff history at the time. But we have to do a bit of a time skip because the rest of his career was fleeting with injuries and a bit more disappointment because these complications to his injuries. His stats were the same, they reduced, but he was still a superstar nonetheless. But he wasn't on the level we had seen with his fiery start to the NBA and his first 4 years in. He was an absolute behemoth. He was like a shell of himself. But now, 2023, he moved to the Phoenix Suns, and this was the start of a bit of a comeback. After being listed out since January 8th with a right knee injury, he made a comeback to the Suns when he signed for them on March 1st against the Charlotte Hornets. He put 23 points on the 10-15 shoots in 27 minutes, contributing to their win. But all wasn't well with Kevin Durant. Due to past injury complications, his day-to-day life was a bit harder, and coming for each match became more difficult and more difficult. But he grinded out the process, and during a warm-up, he injured his left ankle. He was ruled out for roughly 15 minutes before the opening tip-off. A day later, they announced that he suffered a left ankle sprain and will be rehabilitated for 3 weeks, which we obviously know how it went. He didn't really make the comeback he wanted to because of the injury, but he did come back as a sub, 16 points, 8 rebounds in 29 minutes, contributing to a win against the Minnesota Timberwolves. His 8th game with Phoenix, he finished an 8-0 record, averaging 26 points and 3 minutes per game, helping the Suns finish 4th in the Western Conference. Now, was this impressive? Not really. Kevin Durant status, he was MVP type of player. He was, if he's in your team, you're going to win the NBA, at least for the most part, or coming close second or third. It was impressive, but it wasn't Kevin Durant people knew and loved. And now he will need to work his way up back to the glory which he had from his first 4-5 seasons before the injuries start to pile up. Because after the first and second injury and the ankle sprains, his fitness was in question. He wasn't able to perform at the high level in which he always performed. His points were not high. They were higher than average player, but not high. Not Kevin Durant high. You know what I'm talking about. And it would be visible that maybe this was the end of his career. Nobody knew, but something crazy happened. Just watch.
Eventually having an all-star game there, which does so much for a city. You know what I'm saying? So I look at my time in OKC from that perspective, because we helped build a city up more so than just build a fan base for basketball. I felt like we built up the core and the culture of what this town is going to be about, you know? And all of that stuff comes together. And I realized what it's like not having a team in your market as opposed to having one, you know? So for us to be expansion and do what we're doing now and to see where they are now, I feel a part of it.
That's amazing. You know, and the first, I guess you and I have been working together since June of 2013. It was right when you guys lost to Memphis. Russ had got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first came out there, like, I went to meet with Sam Presti, and it's crazy. You're right. He was 30 years old. It's crazy to think about how young he was.
It's crazy.
But I knew already he was that guy from the Spurs, right? Like, you already knew that he was this whiz kid, like
and when
Theo
you hear the
Epstein.
Spurs, you just know, you just think about championships.
Yeah.
Stamp greatness, just you established in this league.
Yep. So I go into this meeting with him, and you had already I think you had signed your extension. Your contract wasn't up, but I went in to meet with him.
Yeah.
Like, let me show this guy I'm really in basketball. And none of this had happened. Like, Rock was really the first to do that. Like, now all of a sudden, like, these guys gave me the platform like this to be like, all right, cool, Rich, Katie's agent. And now I'm in this room, and it's not like I'm keeping, like, I got the 11th guy on the bench and I'm starting to, like, get my feet wet. I got to go talk to Sam Presti about Kevin Durant. So I'm like, let me go in there and start, like, just dropping some jewels, like talking about the bird rights and just saying shit. And he was like, yo, tell me about that dude Tony that plays in Jay's band when he's on stage. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, man, yeah, I'm a drummer. I'm a part-time or something like that. And he was like, that dude Tony in Jay-Z's band, that's the best drummer ever. And I'm like, I'm going to be all right at this job, man.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that, and it was interesting because Sam felt like he had a different approach. Like, when you go into his office, he got stuff like that, like memorabilia from music, you know, from artists, and he got books about football coaches and you know, painters. Like, he's one of those dudes that see the game and see, you know, team building in a different way. And I'm sure that made you comfortable when you walked in, when he asked you that.
You know what my philosophy is on it? That organization allowed me to grow, right? Matt Tumbleson took me in. Sam Presti took me in. Your whole coaching staff. And I swear to you, as a New York sports fan, and New York sports fans are the best. I always stand behind New York, obviously. But I had never seen, like, a connection like fans and players had, like I had seen in Oklahoma City, where when I walked in, the people at the, like, concession or the people that were taking your ticket felt like they were your family, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the thing was, you did grow up with that city, and that city grew up with you, and it felt like a family loss, and it was bigger than basketball. And the Warriors part of it was just like, all right, that'll add to the fire. But it was really that this family had to separate.
Yeah, and I understood that, and I didn't underestimate people's feelings about me not being a part of that family anymore. I took that in and gave it thought and understood what it meant, and gave people their space and time to process it how they processed it, and then we'll have a conversation later. But I respected how real those feelings were and how real that family we built were. And I think regardless of me having that jersey on, it's going to still feel that way, because OKC now has done, how many years now? 15, 16 years of its existence. They really are into the alumni now. And I can feel that when I go back. I can feel that talking to my former teammates, and that makes me feel proud, because, like, we really started that organization off, and that's a testament to everybody there, because they built that family. We all did, but it was encouraged every day that, like, yo, this is who we is, this is who we are when we come to Oklahoma City. Only major sports franchise in this city. Everybody's rallying around us in the whole state. It felt that way.
And you know what? It's going to age really well.
I think so too. And even though it was rough for me with the fan base and some of the people that worked in the organization for a year or two, it was rough. But when I started to reflect on it, it was just like, it was special what we did, regardless of championships or not. I think that building a culture there so fast like we did, and building a core fan base, not just in Oklahoma, around the world. I see people who still Thunder fans from those days. That meant a lot.
So clearly can't compare to Oklahoma City. And speaking of jerseys, your Sonic jersey is all over the world. But like Austin, Texas, your connection to Seattle is ill. I'm just going to ask you straight up. Do you want to be a part of the Seattle Supersonics if it was available to you at some point in your life?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I feel like that franchise, for one, is an iconic brand within the NBA. I feel like that market is a basketball market that needs the influence of the NBA team in that city, so to continue to inspire that city and bring and produce more and more basketball players. Because I believe that. I believe if a city has an NBA team, you will get more and more kids inspired to want to become NBA players, as opposed to not having a team. And it's a franchise I played for, so I have some pride for it. So And I believe it will be back. I believe it will be a part of expansion in the league, and to help run the team and help guide the team as they come back into the league. I would absolutely love that. And you know, when I retire, obviously I would. That's a dream come true. That's probably one of the only things that I would really lock in, like I would, you know, like I was playing again. You know, it would feel close to that.
And I know that you could truly walk in to a franchise, and I bet you our good friend Bob Myers would attest, because he's had countless hours of conversations with you about basketball.
I always enjoy watching other players. Even in high school, I always followed what I liked, and players in my class and players that were coming out of high school after me. I always kept my eye on them. But I think once I got to OKC, and me and Troy Weaver, who's the GM of Detroit now, we started having these little conversations just about players in college and high school, what he's seen out of players, and we would have these conversations periodically, and I was just always interested in those. So every chance I get to bring him to the side to just talk about a game or a player, I would do it. And that just started to build up my eye for the game. The different things I started to watch, the details that I started to watching throughout the game. And then each team I went to, I built that relationship with every GM, Bob Myers, with Sean Marks, with Josh Bottlestein, James Jones right now. Like, we just talk ball. And I think having those conversations over the last 15 years has helped shape my mind to understand what it takes to be a professional, on top of my own experience as a professional. So I feel like, I can add value to any franchise just based off of my just learning over time, my experience as an individual player in this league as well, and just having the will to do something, So it's always been fun evaluating and seeing where the game is going. It's just, and I feel like I feel like I've been telling you what I see through my eyes too, from a basketball perspective, which helped you as well understand the game at a different level, from a different perspective. You knew the game, but seeing it from a different perspective too.
When I was around you and around your peers, right, I started to hear like a master class, and I realized and have learned now a whole other way to communicate about the game. And it's truly another language, like it really is.
Yeah. It's weird because the game is so simple, but it's so many intricacies of the game, subtleties of the game, that if you don't watch it or play it consistently, that you can overlook, And since you've been on the journey with me for so long, like, I'm calling you after games. I'm calling you after a tough stretch. We talking through a good game. Like, what was you thinking there? Like, when I hit that shot against Chicago, like, yo, well, how did you double pump and see this? Like, you seeing the details throughout the game now, just for having those conversations. And I just feel like that's what the NBA is. It's just it's like Harvard for basketball, where you get from the business perspective, from, what it's like to be a last man on the bench to the best player on the team. Every role I feel like I've seen and studied just from my travels throughout the league, that, I understand what it takes to become a solid basketball player and help build a solid brand on the court. I tell people all the time, it's like, people that's in the grind with me, that's answering the phone after every game, that's traveling on the road to Indiana's and the back-to-backs with me, who's, up till 2 or 3 a.m., going through this whole grind with me, feeling the same way I feel after wins and losses. You're in the NBA too. Regardless of you suiting up and getting sweaty, you understand mentally what it's like to go through a grind of an NBA season. And agents don't get that respect. They're not getting sweaty or dirty, but they in the grind just as much as the players, and they truly understand what it's like what life is like being an NBA player.
I agree. Looking back now, me and you've been working together 11 years. 7, 8 years ago, we went on our own. You took such a leap of faith, because where I was at in my life, I was lost, like in terms of like from here and here, right? So I had a lot of passion. I knew I had the intelligence, but these things were disconnected completely, and I wasn't feeling good about myself. But like, that's what I think our partnership is about. It's like, I honor the fact that you gave me that chance.
And like you said, you hit it well. I didn't truly know what you was going through until we started talking about it after the fact. but I just seen your passion for wanting to get better and wanting to master what you was doing, and the grace in which you did it with a lot of, frankly, a lot of bullshit being thrown your way. You jumping into an industry you didn't know much about. I see how you handled it, and I was just like, well, this, and then our relationship built pretty fast. Like, I felt comfortable telling you everything that was going on in my life, and you understood it so quickly and easily. And so all of that coming together, I'm just like, yeah, I feel like I don't mind taking this leap of faith and seeing where this goes, because I feel like this is somebody I could just trust. And it just started from there. And we didn't have a plan or like, yo, we're gonna build the boardroom when you get with me, or we gonna invest in this when you get with me. It was just like, yo, let's just see where this goes. And just having that thought process of wanting to just build and not worry about what can come down the line, it made me way more at ease and be like, yo, this is actually the guy I've been looking for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And as a professional, somebody who's trying to build a brand and build who you are in this space, that's what I was looking for the whole time. Somebody I can really just not have that player-agent relationship, but somebody I can really call my brother that we can work together. And that's a hard thing to find. You know that too, mixing that personal with the business and it working.
At 35 years old, like we started talking about, like we just said, the Seattle Supersonics, and obviously Boardroom, something we've built to, build as far as we can build it. But there's a lot of things that you and I have talked about that you could do, would do, have the opportunity to do. Have you started even thinking about that, or do you still feel like, you're young KD that's just playing ball?
Yeah, I still feel like I'm that kid that's still hoping. But it's almost impossible not to think about it. And I can feel my mind drifting towards there when I see somebody my age going to transition out of the game and start doing something that I wouldn't mind doing when I'm done playing. Like be a GM, or do what Grant Hill's doing and run Team USA, or become an owner of a franchise, or just run the boardroom when I'm done, So I get inspired by seeing people do those things all the time. But there's also a part of me that kind of snaps out of it and say, yo, I'm still in the grind with the youngsters, still playing the game. But I'm at a point at being 35 and hearing it every day from my peers and from people around the game, being 17 years in, it's hard not to think about it. But I feel like being in the league and understanding and being this player that I am at this point in the league is preparing me mentally to be ready to take on different roles. And I think that's just the core of the game, is being disciplined, being consistent every single day, working well with others, working towards a common goal. And I think those traits can transfer over, to anything if I put my mind into it.
Do you, at 35 years old, feel like your game has changed at all?
No, because I still feel myself doing the same moves I was doing since I was 8 or 9 years old. My mentality and my approach has changed for sure. And just understanding what it takes to win an NBA basketball game at different parts of the season. Understanding what it's like playing in the back-to-back, in the playoffs, in the play-in, preseason, like what a shoot-around is like. I think I've gained understanding of that, and now that my approach to all of those different scenarios have changed, so I can be any different player any given night based on where we are in the season. You know what I'm saying? I think that takes a lot of, it takes up a lot of work to truly think on that level of each game may be different, so you got to be prepared and ready for anything. That's like I had to release a lot of other thoughts so I could just focus on that. And sometimes me retiring and what it may happen when I retire gets lost in that shuffle of trying to focus on, all right, my role may change tonight on court, So it's, I think that's how my game has changed more so than my skill set and what I'm doing out there.
Do you have more perspective for how incredible it is that, forget who you are, just that you really are?
The 2023-2024 season, a miracle happened. Kevin Durant out went through several injuries and had to work like hell to get back to his fitness and back to where it was. He finished the season averaging 27.1 points, 55th highest in the league, and those are Kevin Durant numbers again, like properly, and shot 52.3 points from the field, 41.3 points from the 3-point range, and 85.6% percentages from the free throw line. One of 3 qualified players to shoot at least 50, 40, 85 in those respective categories, alongside Devin Booker and Steph Curry. They became the third pair of teammates in NBA history to average 27 plus points in the same season. What does this mean? Kevin Durant made his comeback. These are the numbers he put in his first 3 years. Type of numbers, maybe higher, maybe a bit lower, but these are Kevin Durant numbers, and he was a behemoth again. Throughout difficulties, throughout all the tribulations, trials, he did it. He was a superstar again. He proved why he was Hall of Fame status. He proved why he should be the greatest. He proved everyone wrong. And that season, he was the top 10 in all-time scoring for that season, and that cemented his name as one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Now, in recent times, this is the end of 2024, he's had a pretty average season, nothing crazy, nothing high, not crazy numbers, just pretty calm average season. His return was kind of short-lived because he sprained his left ankle December 3rd. The victory against San Antonio Spurs this year, just a few weeks ago, and he missed 3 games, during which they lost. He returned December 13th, scoring 30 points and dishing out 8 assists, which is a great win for him, and that was his last game currently. This 2024 season has been an average season for him. It's not his best season, not his worst. He had a few injuries, but he's living life. He's still a superstar nonetheless. He can come back to 2025 and be a behemoth and just show Curry who's boss, which is unlikely, but it's possible. Now, what makes him pick? What's his style of play? What makes Kevin Durant the greatest? Why is he that great? Is he just tall? No. What's his player build? Why is he the great? Why is he the greatest? Let's get into it. Kevin Durant's style of play. He's best known for his prodigious scoring ability. From 2010 to 2014, he won 4 scoring titles, become one of the only 2 players to win 4 scoring titles in a 5-year span. In his early days, his play style was isolation driven, but he's now a great off-ball player as well, who's capable of scoring from outside as well. By 2013, he was shooting at a historically great clip, which helped him become one of the only 9 members of the 50 to 40 to 90 club. The ability to impact the offense in a variety of ways helped Kevin Durant remain effective with his assist and his scoring ability, improving that already elite offense upon joining the Golden State Warriors in 2016. But is that all? Nah. In his early days, he was criticized for his slim build, his poor defensive skills, and his poor passing. Over time, he grew as a player. He's now a great playmaker. He averages a high assist percentage per game, increasing his assist numbers every year from 2010 to 2014. His overall passes ain't the best, but now, due to his constant improvement, he's one of the league's best passers, arguably. He also showed a great defensive improvement. He's not a defender by any means, but he can make a couple steals or blocks here and there, but it's nothing too impressive. But considering his own position, he shouldn't give him. You have to give him props for that. With his opponents averaging just 0.62 points per isolation play against him in 2014, the best success rate for defensive players who faced at least 100 isolations that same season. Upon going to Golden State to build Steph Curry, Kevin Durant developed into a more reliable off-ball defender and rim protector. He improved his defending by a mile from where he started from. In 2018, he was considered for the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award, a complete switch up from his early days in the NBA, which was a full, complete attacker. Now he's more of a balanced player. Now he's in his latter days of his career and may soon retire in a few years, maybe less than a decade he may retire in the NBA. But yeah, he's more defensive now. It's a bit more middle of the park type of NBA star, but he can still make those plays and score, make those points, make every point count. But now he's more of a balanced player, and that's what makes him tick. His scoring ability, his passing ability, his more than mediocre defensive ability. Now he has improved, and just overall package as a superstar due to his hard work and just natural talent. Now, what is the conclusion to Kevin Durant's career?
and we win some shit and I don't do anything, I'm like the 15th man, never play. It's like I don't truly feel a part of it.
Yeah.
There was some veteran guys on that group that just like I wouldn't have played over. And so if I'm on a team and I'm not contributing anything and we win something, I just don't feel. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna cheer and be excited for y'all, but I just don't feel fulfilled. I don't get that fulfillment like y'all do because I wasn't in the action.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. It's like my Warrior rings.
yeah. It's yeah.
No, it's different.
But
it's different.
like, you know what I'm saying? Where you doing everything that the other players who played, who sweated and blood, sweat, and tears into the game, you didn't even get to put that much work in with them. So it's hard to feel a part of something. So I figured it'd have been like that with Team USA. So I'm glad it went that way. But if it's in today's climate, I'm sure they'd have been.
You're making it, yeah. Well, you'll get your fourth.
Just so they can be like, all right, this guy gonna be on the 2010 World Championship team.
Yeah. Get him in the system.
Just get him in the system, yeah. But it worked out perfectly.
We'll see what happens this
Let's
summer.
go get 4. And it's about, when we go out there, I just want to really make a statement about how dominant our players
it's
are.
time to go back there and dominate, right?
Like 40, 50-point win. I want to do that.
Before we wrap this incredible cover story video up, bro, and man, this was fun.
This was so much fun.
This was so much fun, and I know you very well, and we talk every day. But I think this is good for people to understand too, because this partnership and this relationship, we've gone through some crazy ass shit over the last 10, 11, 12 years, and I've been blessed to, to be a part of your career and for us to build something special. And this brand, and how much this brand means to me, and you gave me once again the support to go build this thing. And and what you're building back home, like watching what you're building with your family and seeing how great your impact is, right? And what we're doing, it feels still like we just starting. I get to share it with my family. I get to share it with my wife and kids. It's an incredible thing. Do you have a place in your mind yet to think about that, or is part of the focus, part of that, let me make decisions based on this, mean that you might not be able to integrate family to that regard till after you retire?
I feel like as I get older, I can compartmentalize, I guess, mentally my priorities a little bit better. 2-3 years ago, probably not. But now I feel like I have control over what I need to do in order to be a great basketball player every day and also be present in my outside life. So yeah, I think it's in the cards soon. Or I mean, not when not holding it off till I retire. It may happen when I retire, but I'm not going to make that declaration right now.
You haven't separated it in any way. If it happens, it happens.
It happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But from being around so long, I feel like I could take the brunt of anything that comes into this life, and I can understand it and make it work.
Man, if you have a son and he wants to hoop, he's in for it with the work ethic. You're going to be like, bro, what do you mean you're sleeping?
Oh my God. I just like, my nephew's 5 and he just started shooting around like a year ago, and I don't think he understands.
Oh, Deuce is going to be a problem.
Because my brother is a coach.
Shout out Tony Durant, just won the championship on the AAU circuit, Under Armour circuit.
Under Armour 16 and under, amazing coach that's only going to get better.
Shout out Nike and Team Durant as well.
Yeah, man, he going to come over to Team Durant, but with him being a coach and me being who I am as a player, and just
Deuce gonna be a problem.
And then we just got coaches and players all around. My brother's friends are known
agents
because they agents. All my friends that hooped or been around the game. So the youngest that's gonna be born around this time, it's just gonna be filled with so much knowledge of the game. It's gonna be fun.
All right, well that's a wrap. 35 years old. Number 35, boardroom cover story. I think we did it justice. I think I learned more about you, bro. I think we reflected on some incredible times we had on this run. And, you know, I appreciate catching up with you, man. I appreciate this time. You know, you move cross country. This is what we got to do. We got to meet up in Orlando to catch up these days.
Exactly, man. I appreciate it. Boardroom cover story, another one.
Final conclusion. My channel, and yeah, see you in the next one. Peace.